Welcome to Stock Talk with Nico Kritikos. Today we're going to be doing some stock analysis for Qualcomm. This company has a lot of interesting things going for it. This is a stock I own, and if you don't know, Qualcomm is a telecommunications business. They make modems, they make semiconductor chips, and they also own a lot of patents and the rights to a lot of things that they can license out to make money to other companies. So one of the first things we're going to look at here that I thought was very interesting was this is the list of US patents for all these different companies. And at the top, we have Samsung, but in 10th place, we have Qualcomm with 2,656 patents that were issued, I believe, in 2022. Now, although they're not number one, they're in 10th place, which is still very impressive. But one of the important things is if you look at their growth compared to the previous year, it's higher than most companies. This company right here is the only one that's higher. Other than that, they grew 22% from the year prior. So I think that's a fantastic metric as well. Then we're going to take a look at the market share for this business. I think that's a very important part. So for the global semiconductor market, they only have 5.8%. But keep in mind, this is a ginormous market that's worth over $600 billion. And you have dozens of people competing in this market. So 5.8% is somewhat reasonable. Now, if we narrow down to their specific market, which is global smartphone processors, this is where you see them shine a little bit more. And although they're not in first place, so in first place we have MediaTek, right? Let me pull up. So here we have MediaTek is number one with 39% roughly, right? Or 22% here, but actually this one is better. Let's look at this. So this is the market share for all these different brands. We have MediaTek in first place. Anywhere from 35 to 42% is MediaTek's market share. Then we have Qualcomm, anywhere from 26 to 33%. So a little bit less, but still in second place and still nearly double the market share of Apple. But here's the important thing. Here's what I thought was interesting. If we go to the performance of these companies, we're going to see that it says, despite MediaTek declining 3% on a quarter-over-quarter basis and declining 7% on a year-over-year basis, if we scroll down, we see that Qualcomm actually grew their market share, 31% market share with 2% growth quarter-over-quarter and 4% increase year-over-year, which the year-over-year is probably more important. So the report said Qualcomm shipments will also decline. This is late 2022 with macroeconomic issues and a slowdown in China's economy, but Snapdragon will have 100% share of the Samsung Galaxy. So it seems like they make most of their money from, it looks like Apple's trying to make their own and work with Taiwan Semiconductor, and Qualcomm mainly participates with Samsung products. So that's that. Now, let's get into their revenue. If we look at their revenue, we're going to see great job growing revenue, averaging about 15% per year. Net income, also pretty strong. We see a couple dips here and there, but in the last 5 years, they grew it on an average of 39%, which is probably a little bit biased. Closer to that 8% number is probably more realistic. The semiconductor industry is kind of famous for being very volatile, so you have to expect that. A PE ratio for this company is a 12 right now, so pretty cheap. Then we get into the next thing on the list, which is the company innovative? I would say yes, this company is always innovating, trying to push, new technologies with their chips and create 5G products. So that's something I like to see. We already went over market share. Their market share is strong. Their return on invested capital is actually fantastic. Their return on invested capital for the prior year was 43%. Now, it's not that every year. In the past, it's been 18%, but 43% is very strong. We got less than a minute left to finish this. So the equity is growing. Now I always say bad things about having goodwill in the balance sheet, but for this company, this is probably one of the best companies you can have for goodwill, because their goodwill is those patents stuff is very valuable. The equity has gone from 13 billion to 19 billion just in the last year. Next on this list was assets are not twice the liabilities. However, almost every company I analyze can't hit that. So I might have to change that. Profit margin over 10%, yes, 29%. Their cash and receivables is very strong. I think it's about $9 billion. They have a very healthy dividend, 3% dividend with only a 30% payout ratio. The company is over 20 years old, and the most important metric probably is going to be growing free cash flow, which they hit that as well. So I love this stock. I'm a buyer.